Hello my little lamb-loving peeps! This is Kat, aka Kakibot, and I bring you videos about Edinburgh and Scotland and life and travel around here. And today we are going to be talking all about what Edinburgh is like in May, because May is usually quoted as like the best month to come, so yeah, we're going to be fact-checking that, and we're going to be talking about what local nature has to offer and what events are on. Settle in, and we're gonna go on a little information-heavy adventure. Okay, let's start with what's going on in Scottish nature in May. So I would say that in April you get quite a lot of, blossoming trees. That's like the main thing that people come here for in April. And now in May you get so many beautiful lilacs. And I think that also a lot of like sort of meadow flowers are starting to blossom. It's getting that much more kind of late spring, early summer feel. Also rhododendrons, which to me, coming from Czech Republic, were always something that was only to be found in botanical gardens, but over here you can actually find rhododendrons in like Scottish wilderness. I'm always really surprised that it's basically a weed, a huge, very impressive piece of weed. And one last thing that I need to mention when it comes to Scottish nature in May is that this is the end bit of lambing season. So if you decide to venture beyond Edinburgh, then you shall be rewarded by a lot of tiny, cute animals, especially tiny lambs, but you're also gonna see like tiny horses and tiny cows, and yeah, it's the best. Don't think about their eventual fate, just enjoy how cute they are now, because they're adorable. Okay, weather-wise, I would say that this specific May was okay. I think that we were quite lucky with a really nice April. I would definitely say though that May is like the first month when I wouldn't recommend you to like bring any kind of like winter time gear. I think that May truly is a month when you don't really have to bring things like hats and scarves, because I would say the main difference is that in May the wind is not cold anymore. So it can be windy, but it's not like chilly wind. On the other hand, it starts to get a bit humid. So there, I would say out of like the 4.5 weeks that we had in May, 1.5 was feeling quite humid. The air gets quite heavy, quite close, and to some people who are sensitive to that, that can be kind of tiring. So also, often that happens when it's like 14 degrees. So you might feel like, oh, I'm gonna wear a jacket. And then you're walking around this hilly city and you're getting very sticky all of a sudden. Yep, that's the humidity that nobody ever wants to believe me happens in Edinburgh. And everyone's always like, well, I live in Florida. And I'm like, yeah, okay, if you live in Florida, I get it. You have it worse than us, but it's still pretty bad. Like, this is not dry heat. This is like wet mild. Sticky mild. That's some of the days that we get. But yeah, overall, I can definitely feel that the muggy June and July are kind of just around the corner, so I'm not particularly looking forward to that. Hopefully it's gonna get better again in August. Okay, so now that we have weather out of the way, let's have a look at some of the B-roll I took. Yeah, let's go. Let's go see what the town was like in May. Okay, so now that we looked at the beautiful shots, or you know, hopefully beautiful, hopefully you like them, I like them, now it's my time to remind you that if you're watching this and you're thinking, oh, why am I watching a video about Edinburgh in May? May just happened. I'm not going to Edinburgh in a year's time. This is a whole playlist of videos, so this is like a 10th video in this series. So if you're coming to Edinburgh in August or October, check out the playlist that this is in. I'm gonna link it in the doobly-doo, and you can check any of the other months that have happened since last August. I think that we missed on September, so we will still be filming that this September, hopefully. But otherwise, we are really close to having this playlist all done, so it's going to be practical for all of you when you're planning your future trips to Scotland. Now let's get to the events and general happenings in Edinburgh and Scotland in May. So, interestingly, May is the National Whisky Month, and 21st of May is the National Whisky Day. Also, it is my birthday month, but I guess that most of you are not that excited about that. But yeah, the Whisky Month, surprisingly, it doesn't come with that many events. I think that's because in Edinburgh specifically, there's already so much you can do to explore the world of whiskey. I mean, we have the new Johnny Walker experience on Princess Street. You can go to places like the Holyrood Distillery, which is really lovely, or you can obviously do the classic whiskey experience on Royal Mile. One thing that I found interesting is that the Mary King's Close had some special whiskey tasting tours, and they had their own blend made for this set of events. So if you're coming next May, maybe look into that, because I think that would be a really lovely thing to do, which you can't really do in the other months. So yeah, Mary King's Close is the winner of doing cool stuff for the Whisky Month. There is also a bunch of festivals. Some of them happen a bit later in the year than May, but the two main ones that happen in May are, I'm gonna read this now, the Isla Festival of Music and Malt, which Simon specifically really likes, one of like the special editions that Lagavulin made for them. It's like one of his favorite whiskeys, and it's quite expensive and hard to get. But yeah, like if you're into both whiskey and music, then that one might be the right one for you. There's also the Spirit of Speyside Whisky Festival. There's also the Edinburgh Whisky Festival, which actually takes place in June, so I might revisit that in the next video, but I will probably forget, so I'm just gonna mention it here. That one, if you're watching this video, you might still be able to attend, because I'm pretty sure it's about like the last third of June, so if you're watching this and you're into whiskey and you're coming really soon, go visit. You might, you know, have the best of times getting sloshed on little wee drams. On the other side of the event spectrum is the, you know, on one side you have the fun drinking and sloshing, on the other side is the Edinburgh Marathon. And there are two reasons why I'm mentioning this. Obviously, one of them is that you might want to attend as a marathon runner, and also, if you're not attending, it's a good thing to keep in mind that it's happening, because when it's happening, it's usually at the end of like one of the weekends at the end of May, but I'm guessing it might also be one of the weekends at the very start of June, kind of depends on how the calendar aligns. It kind of messes with the whole transportation in the city. So yeah, it might take you longer to get places. And for example, if you're like traveling to the airport, it would be good to like get some extra time for that, because it's always annoying when something like that happens and suddenly getting through the city center takes like 20 more minutes. And just in case you're interested, the Edinburgh Marathon actually starts kind of like in Old Town, then it goes around Holyrood Park, and then it kind of continues outwards, out of the city towards Musselburgh and beyond, and then it kind of loops back, and I think that it ends in Musselburgh as well. So yeah, that's kind of the areas that will be messed up by the marathon a bit. I would be really curious to know if you've ever ran a marathon, because I haven't. I like some sports, but running is not one of them. And if you haven't run a marathon, if this is something that you would like to try, and like if specifically the Edinburgh Marathon is something that would be great for your bucket list, yeah, let's discuss down below. So those are the two main events, or kind of event bubbles, that are happening in May, but there's also a thing that's about to happen in August, which is already creating a bit of a problem when it comes to the local sort of cityscape, and that is the Edinburgh tattoo, which is clearly coming back in August, and I have nothing against it as an event. I'm just slightly bothered that the whole setup, the whole construction that is built on the Edinburgh Castle Esplanade gets built so early in the year. Like, personally, I would understand if they built it maybe like July, August. Fair enough, because I understand they need some time for that, but they keep building it super early in the year. I think it would be nicer to keep the castle kind of, and the Castle Esplanade. I think a lot of you probably go to the castle and maybe you've been inside of the castle before, but you love going to the Esplanade to enjoy all of the beautiful views kind of towards south and north, and it's just really sad that this whole construction is taking that from you. So yeah, if you're planning to visit in the summer, starting end of May, you will have to kind of live with that horrible monstrosity. I'm sorry. Okay, and that takes us to the end of this video. This one was kind of short. There isn't really that much stuff going on in May, apart of horrible constructions being constructed, and lambs, and running, and whiskey. Obviously, you know, this is a beautiful month to visit, and you don't have to worry that there wouldn't be enough stuff to do. I would absolutely love to hear from you if you've ever been to Edinburgh in May, and if you agree that it's one of the best months to visit. Let's have a little chat about it down in the comment section. And as always, you can visit me on Instagram on kakibot and kakiblog, and down in the doobly-doo you will find a link to my Etsy shop where you can find Scottish goodies, and I will see you soon. Bye!